Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to thank you for logging into the Eisenhower Legacy Transportation Program Subconsultant Forum today for right-of-way services. During this presentation, you can expect to hear information about the upcoming $10 billion KDOT Eisenhower Transportation Program, IKE, including an overview of the program scope and schedule, information that will aid your organization in understanding the anticipated timing, volume of future work activities involving real estate subconsultant needs for the IKE program. Hopefully the information provided will assist you in understanding the upcoming workload. The IKE program will represent a significant increase in activity compared to recent years. Parts of the IKE program will be executed within a program management consultant, which we call PMC, managing some of the functions typically performed by KDOT. We will provide clarification on the role of the PMC as it relates to our real estate subconsultants and information on updates to the KDOT process for the execution of these upcoming projects. We hope this initial investment of your time will provide value to all parties by creating a smooth and efficient process for years to come. So some of the speakers for today's overview are myself. I'm Bill Haverkamp. I'm the KDOT Right-of-Way Bureau Chief here in Topeka. Chris?
Yeah, my name's Chris Norton. I'm with KDOT. I'm the PMC coordinating engineer, and you'll hear more about the PMC a little later and what a PMC program manager consultant is.
Wayne?
There we go. Sorry about that. Had a little problem with the mute button. I'm Wayne Young. I am the right-of-way coordinator for the IKE PMC program. I work for Burns & McDonnell and will be assisting KDOT in this. Jeremy?
Jeremy Deacon, I'm assistant road coordinator. I work under Wayne, and I'm also with Burns & McDonnell. And we'll go on, and we always start our meetings with a brief safety moment. And today we're going to discuss excavating and drilling. This was an incident that happened back in 2013 in Kansas City. It was a natural gas fed explosion, fire at a restaurant called JJ's near the Country Club Plaza. This fire resulted from improper directional horizontal drilling. There was a contractor for Time Warner that was installing some cabling underneath the street in front of the restaurant. And the best practice procedure is to hand dig around gas lines. And there was about a 6-inch plastic gas line. And instead of hand digging around the plastic gas line to verify the location, the depth of the gas pipeline, the contractor proceeded to bore at a depth of 36 inches. The locator service indicated that the pipe was at 24 inches. The contractor didn't bother to verify the accuracy of this information, and the drill bit actually penetrated the plastic gas line. And because it was underground, there wasn't anywhere for the gas to escape into the atmosphere. So what happened in this example, and what typically happens, and why this is so dangerous, is because the gas as a fluid escapes to the route of least resistance, which is essentially along the gas service line to the building. So the gas escaped from the pipe and fed back into the building, where it was ultimately ignited by a pilot light on a stove in the restaurant, leading to an explosion about 5 p.m. in the evening. Unfortunately, there was one fatality, and as you can see, extensive property damage. So one thing, takeaway, there are ways to locate the utilities, gas line utilities when you're excavating, but it's always important to actually go in and verify that information. And the best practice if you're working your gas lines is to hand dig around the gas line so that you actually can see where the boring drill, you can actually visually clear it from the gas line. And that's our safety moment.
Bill, you're on mute.
Thank you, Chris. So here are some of the house rules that we have for this meeting today. All attendees are muted, and some of the panelists, if they don't watch their little button. Please type a question or comment into the live Q&A chat. We will follow up with those at the end of the presentation. Wayne will be our moderator. The chat will be saved for future reference. We will follow up as needed with any unanswered questions. The presentation is also being recorded for future reference. Just last year, KDOT celebrated the 50th anniversary of the completion of the I-70 across the state. The interstate helped make this state, and our work on the IKE program is an extension of that view of transportation as a driver of economic expansion. This photo is from a 1919 U.S. Army test cross-country convoy stuck in Iowa, which a young Dwight Eisenhower participated in. Next slide. Thank you. KDOT has an opportunity with the IKE program, and it came from the right place. A joint legislative transportation task force helped begin discussion about transportation needs in Kansas in the fall of 2018. KDOT worked with more than 2,000 Kansans who shared with us their belief when we work together, we are stronger. We listened and we learned. Citizens have informed IKE every step of the way, and that snapshot is a part of a local consult that was held in the fall of 2018. Okay, next slide. Our promise is to deliver IKE. Oh, I'm sorry, Chris.
Yep, that's all right. Thanks, Bill. I'll start from here. Yes, and that local consult that Bill referred to was in 2018, and that's where we heard about the needs that are still out there, the need for a new program, and that's our promise right here in the IKE program. KDOT and our consultant partners, we've got to deliver this IKE program together. $10 billion over 10 years with KDOT's current staffing levels, and even in the Bureau of Right-of-Way, we're going to rely on our consultant partners more and more. There's going to be a lot of work out there for everybody. This is kind of a comparison with IKE and the T-Works program that we're just now wrapping up. You can see IKE's a little bigger, notably bigger, and KDOT's staffing levels are probably around 600 to 700 less than what we had at the beginning of T-Works. Next, please. So this is a good representation of the kind of the splits in the IKE program. So that 51%, most of it is geared towards preservation. And, you know, you think about preservation, milling, overlaying, but preservation includes bridge replacements where there's typically right-of-way acquired and needs. The big ones, the big modernization and expansion jobs is about 23% or 2.3 of the 10 billion. We've got 40 of those in the development pipeline right now, and I'll talk about development pipeline versus construction pipeline in a little bit. But those are the big pretty jobs, the Polk Quincy's, the South Lawrence traffic ways, expansion projects as simple as passing lanes, things like that. US 50 out in Gray and Finney County, the big 4-lane expressways like on K68 in Miami County. Those are those types. Now, I can't get into the 2.6 billion, that's the remainder, but you know, those are the remaining type of cost share programs and other clink projects with cities and counties, things like that. Let's move on. The goals, always with any highway program is safer roads to sustain and enhance economic growth in communities and along corridors. And then, more options for Kansans and resources for communities, whether that's helping with transportation, whether that's busing or multimodal, but also just, better improved highways in and around their towns and communities. Next, please. So some of the guiding principles with KDOT in the IKE program are, being flexible and responsive. I think, when you look at the Comprehensive Transportation Program, the CHP before that, T-Works, those were 10-year defined projects programs. But now this IKE program is a little different. You'll hear us talk about it's a revolving 2-year program where every 2 years we go out to local consult, meet with all regions of the state, hear any developing needs, being able to be flexible and responsive to put those in the development pipeline, or even if we have something in the development pipeline already and 2 to 4 years later we hear differently. This program will allow us to be flexible and responsive to changing needs. Again, leveraging partnerships with communities. Leverage is fancy, but it's really having some buy-in and some funding help with towns and counties to advance projects they're really interested into construction. Next, please. Thanks, Wayne. We're engineers. We identify projects and designs based on data and metrics. We're going to continue to do that. We've got some great new tools that are helping us with identifying projects, but also with just helping us be smart on and cost effective on even shoulder widths, shoulder types. Transparency and accountability. You're gonna see that with our website, and I hope we can, Katie or Anastasia or whoever, provide all the attendees a link to our IKE website that has a lot of information about the status of projects and where they're at, what projects are out there for our consultant partners and the public. Next slide, please, Wayne. So here's a little graphic on development pipeline versus construction pipeline. We've got 40 of the big modernization and expansion projects that are in the development pipeline. They're being designed. They're having right-of-way acquired, and in some cases, utilities moved, but that doesn't mean they're funded for construction. And this July, there will be a big announcement. The construction pipeline announcement will be yearly, and that is when, based on cash flow or budget, we know the projects in the development pipeline that can be moved forward and funded for construction built. Probably won't be all of them, all 40, but I think there'll be a lot of them, hopefully this July when they're announced to move forward to construction. And that happens, that development pipeline gets renewed every 2 years through local consult. Okay, here's a great graphic that shows you the expansion projects in green, the modernization projects in blue. Modernization is typically shoulder widenings, things like that. Expansions are, 4-lane expansions, passing lanes, new interchanges, things like that. And we also have on here the remaining delayed T-Works jobs, where in some cases right-of-way is still being acquired. So that's a good graphic all over the state. Next, please, Wayne. The website, and again, I hope we can, and maybe a lot of the consultants have this already, but we need to get that website linked to you. And there's a lot of good information on that IKE website. I'm not going to get into all of it, but it's pretty self-explanatory. A lot of it deals with, hey, the legislation that was passed for the IKE program. There's some legislative requirements we have to meet in each district, in each county, with this IKE program. Next, please. And Wayne, I think you're taking over from here.
There we go. Yeah. So the IKE Transportation Partners is what is partnering with KDOT. It's a joint venture partnership for the PMC. It's made up of Garver and Burns and McDonnell. So our role as the PMC is doing program oversight, project management, procurement manager, staff augmentation, and innovation and improvement. So we want to compare the PMC to staff serving in the right-of-way roles in order to assist KDOT and the KDOT right-of-way group. So we'll be acting as staff augmentation, helping them in bringing on the projects and making sure that we get those accomplished in a timely fashion. So the PMC, we have Brian Kidwell, who is the program manager, and Howard Lubliner, who is the deputy program manager. They'll be leading the group. Brian served as the district engineer for MoDOT for decades prior to joining Garver. And Howard served at KDOT for most of his career prior to joining Burns and McDonnell. Specifically dealing with right-of-way, myself, I'll be the IKE PMC right-of-way manager, and Jeremy Deacon, who did the safety moment, is going to be assisting me with that. And so you'll hear both of our names or be getting information from both of us as we go through this. So what does it mean for KDOT and Kansas Transportation? Efficient project delivery that leverages the relationships and uses collaborative tools. That's why we're having this forum, is to make sure that the relationships that have already been developed with KDOT are informed about the IKE program. And even those of you who are participating in this that have not previously done work with KDOT or have not been pre-qualified by KDOT, we're going to go through some of the information to allow you to do that. But we want to leverage those relationships to get these projects done and delivered. Just as a sampling of some of the projects, this is just a partial list of the projects that have been assigned to the PMC. Now, not all of these projects are going to have right-of-way work done by the PMC. Some of them, the right-of-way work will still be done directly by KDOT, but we'll be working hand in hand with Bill Haverkamp and his group in the projects and identifying what right-of-way projects need to be handled by the PMC versus what right-of-way projects will be handled by KDOT directly. That list of projects is always subject to change. The number of parcels there are subject to change depending upon final design and work out through that. So for the appraisers that are part of this forum today, there is an online application that you can make to become qualified with KDOT. That link is there. If you just go to the kdot.org website, you can follow into the appraisal application and submit that application along with the other information that's mentioned there, recent clients that you've had, resumes, and your designations associated with that. Same thing with review appraisers. Submit an application, identify the appraisal functions that you've been involved with when you've conducted review appraisals, that type of information in there so that we can get you qualified, pre-qualified for these projects. On the acquisition side, there is not a particular website or application that you have to make, but developing this information in advance and providing it to us in advance will allow us to pre-qualify you for the jobs that are going to be coming up. As you can see there, what we need to have is at least 1 year of experience in right-of-way acquisition for highway or utility purposes. 2 years experience in real estate sales, property management, title work, land survey work, or work in a similar field. And there's other exceptions there or information there that you can provide. So the more information you can provide to us to allow us to make a decision and qualify you for acquisition work, the more information you can provide, the better off it'll be. We're not going to go through these workflows in detail, but just to let you know, we do have, KDOT does have, and we are utilizing the KDOT workflows for appraisal, acquisition, and relocation work. As you can see, there's lots of steps in here. We'll be following those. We will be also looking to see if there's any benefits that we can derive out of here, any places where we can do work together or do projects in a more parallel fashion rather than contiguous one after the other. So we want to be able to see if we can work these projects in a more efficient fashion, but still using the workflow that KDOT has and identifying places where we can make improvements there. Again, that goes for all of those items, appraisal, acquisition, and relocation. And with that, I'm going to pass it back to Bill. Don't forget, there you go. Don't forget to unmute.
All right, had to wait till I was live. Okay, so as Eisenhower said, our real problem is not our strength today. It is rather the vital necessity of action today to ensure our strength tomorrow. Next slide, please. And I believe, I think Wayne, you have control over the chat bar probably, but if you have some questions and feedback that we can do today, go ahead and type those in. We'll take a stab at them. But this is a good listing of our panel right here, along with Kim Curry is another one of the IKE PMC engineering management individuals. So Wayne, do we have any questions that have come in? I see none.
I don't see any out there yet. We'll wait just a little bit and see if anything comes up.
And we went through a lot of information in a short amount of time, but very good.
Okay. Do you see anything, Jeremy?
I see no questions as of yet.
Okay, so our email addresses are there. Feel free to follow up as you feel like, okay?
Okay. That's it. Thank you very much for attending. Appreciate it.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.